Breaking news. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has filed a landmark lawsuit against former U.S. President Donald Trump, accusing him of unlawfully attempting to terminate her role by citing unsubstantiated allegations of mortgage fraud, a move that legal experts are calling one of the most serious challenges to the independence of the Federal Reserve in modern history. The case, filed in a federal court in Washington, D.C., is already sending shockwaves through political, economic, and financial circles, as it raises unprecedented questions about the extent of presidential power, the independence of central banking institutions, and the protection of officials who serve fixed terms under law. According to court filings, Cook alleges that Trump, who has recently escalated his criticisms of the Fed, targeted her personally after she opposed his repeated demand for aggressive interest rate cuts designed to fuel short-term economic growth in the lead-up to the 2024 election season. Trump's attempt to dismiss her, despite the fact that Federal Reserve governors cannot be removed without clear legal cause, represents what many observers describe as a direct assault on institutional norms and a dangerous precedent for political interference in monetary policy. Cook's attorneys argue that Trump relied on fabricated claims of mortgage fraud, accusations for which there is no evidence and which had previously been investigated and dismissed years ago, using them as a pretext to justify her removal. The lawsuit not only seeks to reaffirm Cook's right to serve out her legally mandated term, but also aims to establish broader protection for independent regulatory officials, ensuring they cannot be arbitrarily targeted by political leaders seeking to bend institutions to their will. Financial markets responded nervously to the news, with Treasury yields spiking and stock futures dipping, as investors worried that renewed uncertainty around Fed independence could destabilize global confidence in the U.S. dollar. Economists warned that if Trump had succeeded in removing Cook, it could have opened the door for future presidents, regardless of party affiliation, to purge dissenting voices from the Federal Reserve Board, effectively transforming it from a nonpartisan guardian of monetary stability into a politically controlled extension of the White House. Several former Federal Reserve chairs, including Ben Bernanke and Janet Yellen, issued statements of support for Cook, emphasizing that the credibility of the Fed depends on its ability to make decisions free from partisan interference. In Congress, Democrats have rallied behind Cook, framing the lawsuit as a critical test of American democracy and the rule of law, while many Republicans have remained divided, some echoing Trump's claims of fraud while others caution that undermining the Fed could backfire economically. Legal scholars note that the Constitution and the Federal Reserve Act provide only limited guidance on the removal of Fed governors, making this lawsuit a potential defining case that could set judicial precedent for decades to come. Cook herself, one of the first black women to serve on the Board of Governors, has long been recognized for her research on economic inequality, innovation, and financial stability, and her supporters argue that the attacks against her are not only politically motivated but also rooted in efforts to undermine the increasing diversity of voices within top economic institutions. The case will likely drag on for months, if not years, and its outcome could have profound implications for the balance of power between the executive branch and independent agencies, especially at a time when global markets are already facing turbulence from inflationary pressures, rising geopolitical tensions, and debates over the future of U.S. monetary policy. Trump's legal team has dismissed the lawsuit as baseless and accused Cook of engaging in political theater designed to boost her public profile, but analysts counter that the stakes are far higher than personal reputations. At issue is whether the United States will continue to uphold the principle that monetary policy should remain insulated from electoral politics. Should the court side with Cook, it would reaffirm the protections of institutional independence and send a strong message to future presidents. Should the court side with Trump, it could fundamentally alter the way America's financial system is governed. The lawsuit thus represents not merely a personal battle between Lisa Cook and Donald Trump, but a critical turning point in the long-standing struggle to maintain a firewall between politics and economic stewardship.